everyone, it's Bethany. Welcome back to my channel. I wasn't going to do anything with my new machine until fall, but it happened to arrive before baby arrived. It was one of those things where I didn't know if baby was going to come before the machine was going to come, but my machine came before baby's due date, so I thought it would be fun to get down here and play around with my new Cricut Explore Air 3. So many of you have been asking me in the past few weeks, ever since they announced the new machines, which machine I was going to buy, and I did decide to do the Cricut Explore Air 3. Quite honestly, it really wasn't a hard choice for me because I don't tend to use my Cricut Maker very much at all. Most of you probably have already caught on to that. You don't see it too much on my channel, although you do see it from time to time. And really, I love my Maker. I think it's a great machine, but I don't tend to use it because I don't tend to do a lot of wood crafts and I don't tend to do a lot of fabric crafts. So in essence, I don't really do a lot of the things that it's intended to do. And for me, the Cricut Explore machines just are a better fit for me because that's kind of how I craft. I'm a little bit more of a simplistic crafter, and the Explore machines just do the job that I need to do when I'm crafting. So I really don't think you can go wrong with any machine that you choose. Of course, I can only give my opinion on the Cricut Explore Air 3 because that's the only thing that I have in front of me, but I am loving it so far. It's honestly a personal preference, whichever machine you choose, because it's based on how you craft. That's why when I often get questions about crafters who are asking me which machine they should invest in, I often just refer them to the website so that they can look and see which machine best fits their crafting needs, because it really is such a personal choice and based only on you and how you craft. Okay, so we are going to be doing 4 crafts today. I'm going to show you the first 4 crafts that I'm doing with my Cricut Explore Air 3. We are going to be doing 2 crafts with the smart material. So we are going to do a smart vinyl craft and a smart iron-on craft. But then I want to also show you how you can put regular materials into your machine by placing them on a mat. So we'll do a project with just regular vinyl through the machine, and then we'll also do a project with regular iron-on through the machine, and those 2 projects will be on a mat. So I'm going to show you a bunch of things today. I'm really excited to show you how everything turns out because it's so fun. I am super impressed with the speed. I know a lot of people are probably saying that, but it is really, really different. It's very, very fast, and quite honestly, I really appreciate that because when I get down here to craft, it's kind of hard waiting on the machine to cut out sometimes, so I am really excited that that's going to be sped up. So 2 more things before we get started. When you get your machine, this is something that I kind of messed up on and didn't really pay attention to, but when you get your machine, your blade is already located and placed into clamp B, but when you get it, make sure you open that clamp and actually make sure that the blade is all the way down. Mine was a little bit up, so when I went to make my first cut, it wasn't cutting through, and I started panicking thinking that my machine wasn't cutting, but really I just had to make sure that the blade was actually all the way down so that it could actually function properly. So make sure you do that. Just quickly open up clamp B, make sure it's pressed all the way down. You don't have to press it or anything, just make sure that it is down in there, and then you will be all good to go. Okay, the second thing I want to mention is all of my videos have been pre-recorded for the summertime because, as you know, baby is coming. So I have 2 videos a week coming for you for the summertime, but that also means that you will not be seeing this machine until the fall again because I pre-recorded all of my material weeks and months ago, and that was all before all of these machines came out. So I don't want you to think that just because you don't see this machine all summer that I didn't like it or anything. I quite honestly really love it, but all of my content was already pre-recorded and all ready to go. So when I go back to recording live again, you guys will see this again in September. Okay, so let's go ahead and hop into Design Space. I'm going to show you the 4 crafts that I started with. They're very, very fun, very cute, and I can't wait to show off this machine. All right, let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so here we are in Cricut Design Space. This is the really pretty file that I am going to be using. I'm going to make a really fun wood sign for the girls' bathroom, and I just love how this looks. I did purchase this from Design Bundles, and I'll be sure to link it down in the description box below the video in case you would like to purchase it as well. It does come in a bundle with a few other designs in it, so you'll have other little designs to choose from as well. So I am going to be using this with the Smart Vinyl. So what I'm going to do is bring this over here. As you can tell, it's made up of multiple different cut layers. So what I want to do is I want to take everything and I'm just going to weld it all together. That way everything cuts exactly as I see it on the screen. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over to Shapes and I'm just going to recreate my circular wooden sign that I will be placing my design on. And my sign is actually white, so I will go ahead and make my circle white. And the size of my sign is actually 13.5 inches, so I will go ahead and size that accordingly. Then I can go ahead and right click and say send to front and bring my design over here. That actually, in terms of sizing, looks pretty good. I might size it up just a hair, and I'm going to cut this out of a pink Smart Vinyl. So I'll just go ahead and make that pink. That looks really, really nice. Okay, so what I can do now with my circle is I can click on that and just hide it by clicking this eye icon in the layers panel. I was only using that to actually just size my design, so I don't need that going forward. Okay, so I have my Cricut Explore Air 3 already selected over here, and now I can say make it. Okay, so then on the matte preview screen, you are going to have a new pop-up. Now, if you have been using a Cricut Joy up until this point, you already are familiar with this screen. And the reason that this pops up is because this machine, the Cricut Explore Air 3, does matteless cutting. So right here, it wants to know how you are going to load your material into your machine since you do have options. So you can do without a mat, or you can do on a mat, or you can do multiple ways. So without a mat means that you are using their smart materials, and on a mat you can use any material to send through the machine. Again, I'm going to try out the Smart Vinyl, so I'll go ahead and say without a mat and say done. And then again, we will be doing some other projects with regular vinyl, so I will show you how to load that onto a mat in the project coming up. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is it all looks great, so I can say continue, and then on this screen I can make my material selection. So I can just say Smart Vinyl Permanent, and then I can load my material into my machine and get this cut out. Okay, so here is the machine. I love the color. I think the color is just perfect. It is what I would have chosen anyway, so I'm really excited with the color that came out. And I also purchased 2 different colors of the Smart Vinyl. So I did the pink color. I think this is just called pink, but let me double check. This is actually called light pink, so how pretty is that? Definitely up my alley. And then I did purchase this champagne color, so that's really pretty as well. Of course, I'm sure I will purchase more and more colors, but this is what I purchased to get started. So again, this is the Smart Vinyl, which means that we can load this without a mat into the machine. So I'll go ahead and open this up and get it loaded. Okay, so I have my smart material here. I will just use the guides that are on the left and right to help guide my material into the machine. And then I'll just push that lightly up against the back little wheels here. Then what I can do is I can select this flashing arrow button and it will load my material into the machine. So I went ahead and selected that and it will just automatically pull that into the machine. So there we go. Now what it's going to do is it's going to measure out my material to make sure I have enough material to complete the cut. And once it's done that, you will see the new play button appear and it is flashing. Now it's flashing because it's already measured and it's ready to go. So then you can go ahead and click that. This used to be a little Cricut icon, but now it's changed to a little play icon, which means go. Look how fast that is. Oh my goodness. How fun. I can't complain about the speed because I'm really excited that it's a little bit faster being a busy mama, and it'll be really nice to not have to just wait on the machine. Because I find that a lot of the time when I'm crafting, a lot of time is spent kind of twiddling my thumbs waiting for it to cut out. So I'm excited that it's a little bit quicker for sure. Actually, a lot quicker. It's not a little quicker, it's definitely a lot quicker. Okay, so it's already done. Now I can go ahead again and press the flashing arrows to have it remove the material, and we are all ready to go. That is so nice. So I can now trim off all of the extra material and get to weeding. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and start weeding this out. So I just have my little Cricut weeding tool here. This is the one that I prefer to use. And I just like to start in a corner and then just start weeding from there. So I did actually use more pressure on this and it cut perfectly. I love how easy this is to weed. Okay, so this is weeding so good. I personally have always really liked the Smart materials. I have found that they are really nice, and I've also thought and felt that they are a tad thicker than the regular materials, which I can't complain about, and I actually really like a little bit of a thicker vinyl for glassware. So I know that they did reconfigure the Smart vinyl, so I will be curious to see how it, or if I notice a difference, but so far I really, really like it. Okay, so now I'm just going to go through and weed out all of the little centers of the letters, plus the little bubbles have tiny little centers in there as well that I will really quickly grab and weed out, but I'm really impressed with the weeding. It is working exactly as I thought it would. Okay, so I have a little sample of the Cricut transfer tape that came with my machine here. I actually purchased an entire roll of this, but it has not arrived yet. It seems like all of my materials are coming in different boxes, which is been kind of interesting to receive. I actually purchased all of my stuff from Joann, so everything is kind of coming separately. So I am lucky that they put some transfer tape in here. So I usually, in all my other videos, I use a different brand of transfer tape. However, when it comes to the Smart material, I have always found that the Cricut brand transfer tape, or the Smart transfer tape, whatever it's called, has always worked better for me. So I do like to use their transfer tape when I'm working with the Smart material. Again, I do think that their Smart material is a little bit thicker, so I think using their transfer tape that is actually made to work with their product has always, in my opinion, been a better option. So that's just me, but I have found that that has always been a tried and true way to work with the Smart materials. So I'm just placing that on top of my transfer tape so that I can just trim off the amount that I need. And then I will go ahead and get this pulled up off of the cutting sheet. I like to pierce a little corner just like I would when weeding vinyl, just to get that started. And then I will place that over my design. So I'm going to go ahead and just peel a little bit up at the top here so that I can apply it a little bit easier. So I'm just going to fold that piece down. So I just have a little bit showing there. And I'm going to place that on top of my design and get it lined up just like that. And then I can slowly just peel away the back and then let that transfer tape fall onto my design just like this. Okay, there we go, easy peasy. And now we'll just scrape it down. Okay, so I have my little scraper tool, scrape it really well. And then I like to flip mine over and scrape the back down as well. Okay. And I just find that scraping the front and back really helps for the next step where you're going to actually take the vinyl off of the cutting sheet and it will come off with the transfer tape. So it's just been a method that's always worked for me. So now I like to turn it around and then I like to just slowly peel away that backer, leaving my design on the transfer tape. And if there's any pieces that need a little nudging, then I just use my weeding tool to help it along. And I honestly think that one of the reasons why it takes a little bit longer to remove the vinyl from this little backer is because it is matless, this backer is so much thicker than a normal backer. So it can be a little bit trickier to maneuver, but as long as you take your time, it is easy peasy. However, if you're used to working with just regular material that's not smart material, the backer is a lot thicker than what you're used to working with. So it can just take a little bit more time because nudging it off is a little bit trickier, but it does work fine. Okay, so then we have our design. Let me grab my little sign. This is awesome because at the last minute I am nesting again and I can get even more crafts done that I've been meaning to get done. So I have this cute little wooden base here that I'm going to use. I've had this in my little craft stash for a while now. So I'm going to use this for the little sign for the girls' bathroom. So this is from Hobby Lobby, it looks like, $16.99, and I'm sure I got it at 40% off. But I'm going to locate where that little hanger is. That way I know where the top is so that it's not hung upside down or my design is placed upside down. So making sure that's right at the top. Okay. And then I can just take my design and place it right on my sign. How cute. So just centering that where I would like it. I think that looks good. Laying it down gently. So sweet. Okay, then what I like to do is take my scraper and start right in the middle and then just scrape towards the edges. Just like that. I love this color. So cute. It's going to be perfect in their little bathroom. Okay, so I have that scraped down really well. So I'm just going to grab a little corner here and slowly peel up my transfer tape, leaving my design on my sign. And that is peeling off so well. Here we go. Wash your hands. Something I've been saying non-stop lately, as we all have. How cute did that turn out? I'm in love. So cute and so quick and easy. Okay, so this was the first project I have done with my little Cricut Explore Air 3 using the Smart Vinyl Permanent. So very impressed, love it. Now let's go ahead and move on to using just regular vinyl with the machine. And then later on we will use some Smart Iron-On and then we'll use some regular iron-on. We're just gonna do a bunch of different little crafts and test a lot of different little products and see how we like how it's going in the machine. Okay, so back in design space really quickly, I am going to go ahead and get my next design all ready to go. Now the purpose of this project is I want to go ahead and place regular material on a mat and send it through my Cricut Explore Air 3. So for my material this time, I'm going to use the Oracle 651 permanent vinyl and we're going to make a little coffee mug. So I'm going to come over to text and I'm going to just personalize my own text. And I'm using the font called Mariska and I will link it down below because I am pretty sure that this is a purchased font. So I'll link it if I can find it and that way you know where you can purchase it as well. So I have it right here, I have it selected, and then I am going to type out what I would like to say. So I'm just going to say cup of Joe and I will bring it over into the center here and make this bigger so you can watch me edit it. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is come up to alignment and I'm going to center that and then I'm going to come to line spacing and decrease the line spacing, and what it will do is it will just decrease that space between the first and second row, and I will just do that until I'm visually happy with how that looks. Okay, so I really like how that looks. It's very simple, but I think really cute. And I'm putting this on a glass mug, which if you have been watching my tutorials for a while now, you know it's my favorite way to make a little coffee mug because it's just so pretty when you have coffee in it. So you'll see that in a moment. But what I will do now is just size it for my coffee mug. So I'm thinking about 3.5 inches wide, so I will just decrease that to about 3.5, and I might actually go to about 3. Okay. That will be just about right. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I will simply say make it. And then it's going to again ask me how I want to place my material through my machine. And this time I'm going to say on a mat because again, that's for any material. Okay, so I'll go ahead and select that. This is also an option if you have smart material that is too small to fit through the machine. So if you have already cut down some smart material that you're using as scraps, you can place that on a mat and still use it. Okay, so I can say done, and then you'll see my little design here. I will go ahead and say continue. So now I can go ahead and make my material selection. I can go ahead and browse all materials, browse down to vinyl, and I'll just use the premium outdoor vinyl setting for this. Then I'll go ahead and say done, and then load my material onto my mat just as you see it on the preview here, and we'll get this cut out. Okay, so again, just opening up my machine, and then I'm placing just a little piece of vinyl right onto my mat here. Just had a little scrap that I got from my scrap bin, which is perfect for drinkware. Okay, then I can go ahead and load my mat into the machine. Again, just following the grids on either side. Press the load button, just like so. Okay, and then I'm going to wait until it has a flashing play button, and then we can get cutting. Right now it says it's measuring the mat length, and after that is done, I can go ahead and say go. Okay, so before doing so, I'm going to place that to the side, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little bit of rubbing alcohol, and I'm just going to spray my little glass coffee mug. I purchased this at the Dollar Tree quite a while ago, and I love it. It's just the perfect little shape, and I love a glass coffee mug because my really pretty coffee and creamer just looks so nice in it. Plus, I think the contrast of the really pretty mocha color against the white vinyl is always so pretty. It makes a really fun gift. Okay, so that is drying. Now the rubbing alcohol just helps remove any dust, grime, or oils. That way your vinyl lays down really nicely. So again, just trimming off all of that extra vinyl, just like that. I can use the scraps later. And then I'm going to take my weeding tool, and I will begin just weeding out my design. And once again, a perfect cut. That's awesome. Okay, so I'll go ahead and grab the little middle pieces really easily and quickly. And then I am going to grab my favorite transfer tape. I really like this. This is a clear grid line transfer tape that I really like to use with my regular materials. I'll link it down below, but it's one of my favorites to use. So I will go ahead and just trim that down a little bit. And I like a clear transfer tape as well because it makes lining up my project so much easier on the actual base that I'm placing it on. So placing my transfer tape right over my design, and then again scraping the top, flipping it over, scraping the back, and then I can go ahead and peel away my carrier sheet. Okay, and then for my coffee mug, I just like to place my little mouse or scraper on either side just to steady it while I am getting my vinyl placed on there. And for a circular or more rounded type of base that I'm placing it on, like this coffee mug, what I like to do is I like to just trim around my transfer tape. That way it's more flexible when placing it on a curved surface. So being careful, of course, not to cut into the actual design, but I'm just making that a little bit more flexible so that it takes on the shape of the mug as I'm placing it down. Okay, so here we go, leaving enough room for my lip to sip at the top of the mug. Vinyl is not food safe, so you want to avoid the lip area. Okay. And once I have it laid down, then because I have those little cuts in there, I can apply it down in sections, if that makes sense. So I'll just kind of go from the center and rub towards the edges. Okay, and then I can just go ahead and do the top as well. I like to start with just my fingers, and then I go back through with my scraper and really reinforce that. Now, of course, with vinyl, you will want to make sure that you avoid the dishwasher and avoid the microwave because it is not permanent. If you do want a more permanent option, then be sure you check out my sublimation videos or check out my mug press videos because those give you a more permanent drinkware option. And those are super, super fun to make as well. Okay, so just peeling off the transfer tape. There we go, making sure there are no bubbles, and there's our cute little coffee mug. So easy. Okay, so that was sending through just regular material on a mat through the Cricut Explore Air 3. Easy peasy. It cut out fast. It cut out really, really well. And now we can move on to using Smart Iron-On. Okay, so now we are going to use the Cricut Smart Iron-On, which again is matless, and we are going to place that through the Cricut Explore Air 3. So I'm going to use this design to create a little tote bag. I think that will be so cute. I've been wanting to use this design for a while now, so I'm really excited to do so. So I simply need to just resize this design. I'll place a link to where I purchased this from. I purchased it from Design Bundles, and I'll make sure to link it so if you wanted to create something out of this as well, then you know where to purchase this file. So again, you'll notice that it is made up of multiple layers, so I'm going to go ahead and just weld those all together so that everything cuts exactly where it belongs. You can also attach as well. So now what I'm going to do is simply size my design. So I want this to be 8 inches tall, so I'm just going to focus on the height and bring that down to 8. So right about there is good, and then I can simply say make it. So again, it's asking us how we want to feed our material. Because I'm going to be doing Smart Iron-On, I will say without a mat and say done. Because it's iron-on, now I need to mirror my image. So I'm going to toggle the mirror button on and then say continue. I can then go ahead and use the Smart Iron-On setting. It's going to remind me to make sure that mirror is turned on, which it is. I can verify right over here. And that the iron-on is material face down, which just means the shiny side is going to be down when feeding it through the machine. Okay, let's go ahead and send this through the machine without a mat. Okay, so now we are ready to go. Now I have my little sample that came in my box. So I actually wanted to do this out of a navy iron-on, which I have ordered. I ordered some Smart Iron-On in navy because I love navy, but it hasn't arrived yet. Just like I said before, my machine came and all my materials are just slowly making their way here, but I wanted to get this filmed before baby got here. So luckily they placed a little sample of iron-on in the box with my machine. Now I don't know that everybody's going to receive the same sample material, so your sample material might be different, but I had a little bit of Smart Iron-On in mine. So I will go ahead and get this fed through my machine. Now again, you want to locate that shiny side, and that's going to go face down onto the machine here, and then I will go ahead and just line that up on the sides and just push that in till it stops at the little rollers. Then I can press the flashing arrows and it will go ahead and auto load my material into the machine. Again, it's going to measure the material to make sure I have enough material to complete the cut. And then I will go ahead and say go, and it will go ahead and cut it out. And again, look how fast it goes. That's really, really encouraging. Okay, so it's all done. I can go ahead and unload. And that was such a fast cut. I'm really excited. Again, I will go ahead and trim off my Smart material and save all of the extra. Again, you can place this on a mat once it is too small to fit matless through the machine. That way you can still reuse this material that has not been cut. Okay, so with my weeding tool, I will just begin to weed out my design. And in the past with the Cricut Joy, I have really, really liked the Smart Iron-On. So I am assuming that I will feel the same way about this iron-on as well. So like I said, I really wanted to use navy, but we are kind of at the stage where I'm not sure if my package of Smart materials is going to arrive before the baby. So luckily I was excited about the materials that they placed inside the box that my machine came with, and I was able to record almost right away after this arrived. So that's exciting. Okay. I love weeding. I know many people don't. I think that's it's one of those things that you either really enjoy or really don't, but I am on team love to weed. It's just really relaxing for me. Okay, so that is all ready to go. So I'm just gonna turn it over and make sure I got all of my pieces. And I just like to run my weeding tool around and throughout the design just to make sure that my eye tracks every little piece of the design and can check each piece. Looks great to me. So we'll go ahead and get this on the tote bag over at the heat press and press it on. And I think it's gonna turn out really sweet. Okay, so we're back in Design Space for our final craft. This is the design that I'm going to be using. I did purchase this from Design Bundles, and again, I will link it in the description box below in case you're inspired to purchase it and use it as well. I love it. You could also put this on a tote bag or a coffee mug or some type of drinkware. It would be so cute, but I just have to have this on a t-shirt, so I'm really excited to use this. So the purpose of this craft is I want to try sending some flock to HTV through my Cricut Explore Air 3 on a mat. So now I'm going to show you how we can use other regular iron-on through the Cricut Explore Air 3 on a mat. So what I'm going to simply do is, again, it's made up of multiple layers, as you'll see in the layers panel to your right. So again, I'm just going to weld those all together so it is all going to cut out exactly how I see on the screen. And easy peasy, all we have to do is size the design. So I'm going to size it at about 8 inches or 8.5 inches across. Let's do about 8.5. Okay, so that looks good to me. And then I am simply going to say make it. So I'm going to cut this out of a white flocked iron-on, and I am going to actually say on a mat because this is not smart material. So again, on a mat allows you to place any material through the machine. So I will select on a mat, say done. Again, since I'm working with iron-on or HTV, those terms are used interchangeably. I can go ahead and mirror my image. That's really, really important because it is iron-on. So then I can go ahead and say continue. So now I'm going to make my material selection. I can say browse all materials. I'm going to say all materials, and I'm going to search for flocked. And it looks like only flocked paper comes up. So what I'm going to do is I am going to come down to iron-on, and I am going to try to do everyday iron-on with more pressure and see if that works. So I will go ahead and say more pressure. Again, I have my mirror turned on, and we'll go ahead and get this cut out. Okay, so this is the Strip Flock Pro, and this is the flocked iron-on that I am going to be using. I got this from Expressions Vinyl, and I've used it before and love it. So I am going to place that shiny side down onto the mat, and then we will place it through the machine. And then I'm actually going to select my standard grip mat just because this is a much thicker material, so I want to make sure it stays on the mat really, really well. Okay, and this is a brand new standard grip mat, so this should work just fine. Now, of course, always make sure you do a test cut on your machine to make sure you don't waste your material if you're not sure of the cut setting to use for the product that you have. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and load this in. Again, it says it's measuring the mat length, and then once that has been completed, I can go ahead and press the flashing play button, which again is our new go button. Okay, so cutting out really, really well. Okay, so that's all done. I can unload my mat. And again, I will just remove my material and then cut off all of my extra material that has not been cut into. Okay, so now I can just start weeding it. It looks like it cut out perfectly with that cut setting, so I'm super excited about that. Now, if you haven't worked with Strip Flock Pro, it is essentially like a velvet. That's the closest way that I can describe what it actually feels like. So it's really, really pretty, and it makes for a really fun t-shirt, and I've done a sweatshirt with it in the wintertime. It was really, really pretty. So I just really enjoy working with it. In my last haul, I'll go ahead and link that. I did a really fun haul of HTV and vinyl and craft supplies that I have recently purchased, but I purchased this in white and I also purchased it in pink. So I'll probably be making some things for the girls out of the pink. Okay, so it's weeding really, really well. Now it does weed a little tough, but the cut is good. So it's just kind of a little bit harder to pull off than regular iron-on, but it's cut through flawlessly. Okay, so super simple, just going through, grabbing all those little middle pieces, and then we can get this pressed onto the t-shirt. So the t-shirt that I purchased is Bella and Canvas, and oh my gosh, I'm so impressed with it. I did a Michael's curbside pickup and got it really quickly, and it's so soft. I also want to make sure I tell you that I do pre-wash my shirts before I put iron-on on them. So I did run it through the washer and dryer, and it is all ready to go. Okay, so here we go. So again, as always, I will be sure to link this HTV in the description box below, as well as the shirt I'm pressing it on. But then once I turn this over, you can see that it is right side up, which is how we will be pressing it onto my shirt. And again, I just run my little weeding tool around my design just to make sure I can see all the pieces, and I have everything weeded. So let's head to the heat press and get this placed on the shirt. Okay, so there we go. Those are the 4 first crafts that I have done with my Cricut Explore Air 3. I couldn't be happier. I am really happy with how everything turned out, and I was really happy to show you 2 crafts that were done with the smart materials. So we did the smart vinyl on this sign. It turned out really, really nicely, and then we did the smart iron-on on this tote bag, and it turned out so cute as well. But then I also showed you that you can put regular material on a mat and put it through the Cricut Explore Air 3, and we used a nice flocked HTV for this shirt. I love this. I cannot wait to wear this. And then we used just some regular Oracle 651 permanent vinyl to place on a mat to make this cute little coffee mug. So I hope this was helpful for you. Let me know if you decided to go ahead and get a new machine and which one you chose. I'm really excited for you if you did, and I will see you guys all in the next video. Have a wonderful day.